Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Recently we talked our good friend Grant into getting a Sur Ron, so while it's in the stock form, we're going to take this opportunity to go over what has changed since Riley and I got our bikes about a year ago. Really, there's three things that's changed. Everything else is the same. The main things that's changed is the price and the suspension. So the price went up from $3,600 to $4,100 if you're buying from Luna Cycles in the US. The other things that changed is the suspension. It's a new RST Killah Fork and a Sur Ron rear shock. They claim that the throttle is new. Now, it looks the same to me and it might feel a little bit better, but there must be something different with the tuning, or it's a very small difference to say the least.
Without further ado, let's get into my first impressions of the RST Killah Fork. The first thing you noticed about the new fork is that it's a typical mountain bike style fork with the connected lowers and no fender, where the D&M before it was inverted with a fender that resembles a dirt bike more closely. My personal opinion is that the fender is very nice to have and is functional, and I prefer the aesthetics of the inverted fork since the Sur Ron really is a motorcycle at the end of the day. I was a little disappointed moving away from the inverted forks of the D&M even when I went to the Fox 40, but the Kashima coat, the beautiful orange lowers, and the massive increase in performance made up for it. With the RST, there really isn't much good about it. The D&M's preload and damping adjustability did not work great, but at least it was stiff enough with the proper air adjustment to have the proper amount of sag, and it used the travel semi-effectively on the lower speed hits. The high-speed compression of both the D&M and the RST Killah are substandard, and they are comparable as neither of them were really sensitive enough to have sufficient small bump compliance, and they are very rough on the hands. The RST Killah does not have air adjustment, and it is a very soft spring. It is so bad that when you sit on the bike, it's too soft and it sags deep into the travel. And even when you lift the fork up, the stiction is now so bad that you have to pull the fork back out to release the stroke. While it's sitting in the travel, it's too stiff to use it effectively, and it does not work well. To be honest, the performance of this fork is so embarrassing that an intermediate level 160mm single crown fork would probably work much better. It's too soft on the bottom and too stiff on the top, and Sur Ron should be embarrassed that they raised the price and put this on the bike. In addition to all these things, the stanchions are so thin that they flex a lot, and the rigidity is lacking in a way that is not confidence inspiring whatsoever.
Since it's Grant's bike, I'm going to let him talk about the downfalls of this suspension since he's been riding it a lot longer than I have.
Yeah, so I rode Cole's and Riley's bikes back when theirs were still stock, and you know, the stock suspension was lacking. It left wanting more, but overall it was rideable. And I feel like the price increase going from $3,600 to $4,100 just really does not justify the lower quality of the suspension. You know, and that's not to say that the rear shock is terrible, but the front fork especially, you just gotta have some sort of adjustment to come straight from the factory with no air option, only a spring, and have a spring that is way too loose. It's just not worth the money, and I know that I'll be upgrading this very soon. You know, even though it has your compression adjustment and your rebound adjustment just like the old one did, I think there's a lot to be desired there left by Sur Ron.
When you're looking at you know, gas dirt bikes from the main manufacturers like Honda, Yamaha, KTM, and all those, they make minor improvements year after year, and every once in a while they'll do a new generation where they change something major like the frame or the motor. With Sur Ron, we saw them come to market in 2017. Then in 2019, they upgraded the controller to have a higher power output when they went to the X controller, and that was a good improvement. And now, in 2021, unfortunately, it seems like they've taken a step backwards. For a bike that shows so much promise, and just people are now discovering these things, I would really hope to see them try and get into the natural swing of things like the main dirt bike manufacturers go, with slowly improving things year after year, and then after 5 years or so, which we're coming up on now, 2017 to 2021, I'd like to see a major improvement, and only time will tell if they will give the people what they want. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. And if you would like to see more content like this, please like this video and subscribe to our channel, as it helps us out a lot. Thank you and have a nice day.